Nikon announced a new telephoto prime lens, the Nikkor Z135mm f1.8s Plena, the second name lens in their Z-mount lineup that sets a high bar that they promise will deliver dreamy bokeh, high resolution, edge-to-edge brightness, and incredible sharpness. In this video, we're going to go over the specs, the price, and who this lens is for. Before we jump in, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss an update from my upcoming content. Alright, let's get to it. Now you may be asking, what is Plena? Plena is a much more affordable and attainable lens than the Nikon's first name lens, the 58mm f.95 Noct. The name Plena is derived from the Latin word plenum, which Nikon says denotes the state of space being completely full. Now, I'm not 100% sure how that actually applies to this lens, but let's get to the specs. Okay, so here we are at NikonUSA.com to go over the official specs. So let's start from the top. So at 135 millimeters is a fantastic portrait range, just because I generally use most of my portraits anywhere from 50 to 200 millimeters, with the 70 to 200 millimeter lens. Having a prime lens within this range is very useful for me for my portrait work, whether it be for beauty, fashion, headshots, or weddings. Okay. The last lens that I tested at this focal range was the forgive me if I'm wrong, the Sigma HSM art lens. I believe it was a 2.8 prime lens. It's on my YouTube channel. Look it up. But that lens was phenomenal. But that was the last prime lens at this focal length that I've tested. Now, obviously, I'm not blessed enough to get this in pre-production like some of our larger YouTubers out there, but I am going to give my opinion based off of that experience of capturing portraits in that focal with the prime lens in that focal range. All right, we have a maximum aperture of 1.8, minimum aperture of f16, obviously a full frame format FX lens. So maximum angle of view is 12 degrees, excuse me. Maximum angle of view is 12 degrees if you're in DX mode, and maximum angle of view is 18 degrees, 18.10 or something like that degrees, but either way, about 18 degrees. With that said, let's get to the elements. We have the lens elements. We have 16 of them, and being that there's Plena and they're promising beautiful bokeh, and from the reviews that I've seen, like Matt Granger did a great review that I watched earlier. He was absolutely blown away by the natural fantastic compression of the lens, as well as the bokeh and the circular oval, non-ovals or not cat eyes of the bokeh that was created from this lens. And it's probably due to having all of these elements in this glass. So we have 16 in there and 14 lens groups. It does have VR, so that's dope. That's great. It has stabilization in the lens. That's really awesome. I'm glad to hear that. We have diaphragm blade. We have 11 diaphragm blades in there, so that's great. That's again giving us that great circular bokeh that they're talking so much about. And from the pictures I saw, it did look quite amazing, and I love the fall off of the bokeh. So if most of the pictures that they're showcasing on Nikon's website are shot at f1.8, it's definitely the best looking f1.8 lens I've seen. I would get it just for the bokeh, quite honestly, especially for portraits. Has Arneo coating on it. I'm not sure how much that's going to help, but it has it. ED glass elements, it has 4 of them. So, and then we have, let's get to, one spherical element inside there. And it has some extra coating. autofocus, of course, AF. So the autofocus motor is a stepping motor. Internal focusing, yes, minimum focus distance. Here we go. Now here's some juicy stuff right here. 2.69 feet is what it's saying for the minimum focus distance, which I'm not surprised, being a prime lens at this focal length. I would not expect to be able to do some macro work with this thing, but for portraits, I could still communicate very easily with this focal length, which is something that some photographers, even myself, like as soon as you start shooting with 85, 105, 135, 200 millimeter for portraits, you have to make sure your communication is heard. So if you want to talk to your subject, tell them to move this way, pose in that way, sometimes having a super far minimum focus distance only inhibits your ability to be able to communicate effectively with your subject. So being at 2.69 feet, totally reasonable, totally doable. Okay. So it does have obviously autofocus as well as manual, and filter size is 82 millimeter, which is fine. Cause, I have 77, 82. I think 82 was on I want to say it's on the 24-70 S lens. So that's cool. I have filters for that. So it's not like I have to buy a whole new set of filters to fit that lens size when I want to do some videography and some photography. So that's great as well. So it's a screw-in filter type, obviously. So that's good. At least it's not like the old school 14 to 24 millimeter lens. That was a hassle to put filters on the front of that. Again, the dimensions for this is 3.9 inches by 5.5 inches. So this is going to be a very reasonable size lens, prime lens, to fit into most of your camera bags or even shoulder bags. I don't see an issue with this. The approximate weight, again, is 995 grams or 35.1 ounces. All right. And of course, it's a prime lens. So that's really all the gist of the tech specs in this. Let's get to talking about not only my first opinions about this lens, how useful it can or cannot be, and who this lens is for. Okay, so those are the specs. Now let's talk some opinions. First is, this is going to be a fantastic lens for anybody taking portraits. Family portraits, baby portraits, maternity, weddings, fashion, beauty work. Honestly, portraiture, this is going to be a great lens for you. Now, it's not saying that it won't be great for street photography. I've done some fun street photography before with the 105 f1.4 lens, but I did feel way more cramped than I would like, in more times than I would have. I have a feeling I would definitely run into that issue again at 135 right here, but definitely your portrait game is going to look great. You could use this lens for, I'm guessing, for some birding too, if that's what you want. But I would probably stick to the 70 to 200 at least if I'm doing birding or something like that, or 400 millimeter. I think primarily it's going to be anybody doing portraits is going to love this lens. We're used to using this focal range because we have the 70 to 200. So having a prime at 1.8 means I'm getting more light into my camera, and delivering more bokeh-licious images, right? The images that I saw, it was honestly some of the best bokeh results I've seen in a long time, and in a lens that is not the cheapest, but definitely not as expensive as that 58 millimeter 0.95 knocked. So it's obtainable for most of us, and it's roughly around the price of the 85 f1.2 lens that I reviewed earlier, which you could check out in the link above. Will this be a lens that I would get? I think there is a purpose for this lens. Would I get it yet? Well, I'm honestly looking at the Nikon ZF. And that ZF camera body, I think I would use a lot more than I would this prime lens, but it is a lens that I would definitely consider because, again, for me, I do mainly portraits, fashion photography, beauty work, weddings, this is a lens I could definitely use in my bag and allowing me to capture more natural light in challenging lighting conditions, being able since I'm able to open up my aperture up to 1.8. That's my take on it. Again, just like everything else and like the ZF review or first look at it, I'm going to be able to give you a more in-depth review of this lens once I get it in my hands. I don't have it. Tell Nikon to send me some pre-production once in a while. I'd love to deliver that to all of you. Until then, this is my thoughts about it. This lens is going to be available in mid-October for about $2,500. It's available now at NikonUSA.com to pre-order, or head on over to your local camera store like Mike's Camera and go and put down $100, $200, whatever it is, and get your name on the list. What do you think about what Nikon has been doing lately? All the gear they've been pushing out? Because I've been noticing a lot. So I hope to hear your feedback in the comment section. Of course, if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, don't forget to press that like, that share, that subscribe, and yes, hit that bell icon to get notifications for my upcoming content. I'm Robert Silver, and until next time, keep shooting and stay creative.